So I'll go ahead and get started a little bit, and then I'll turn it over to Danny from Rocky Mountaineer. But actually, one of the reasons that I asked Danny to talk this month, well, first of all, because I'm trying to, as we do these different virtual travel talks, I want to talk about different types of travel experiences, different destinations, because definitely right now we want to be dreaming of cool things that we can do in the future. And it seems like the future is getting closer, which is really neat. And let's see, okay, we got everybody let in. And but so Rocky Mountaineer is a really unique travel experience, like really like no other. And it's so funny because for years, as I would go to conferences, I would talk to Danny about Rocky Mountaineer and he would explain it. And I just didn't quite get it. Like I kind of got it, but I didn't really get it. And then I actually got to travel with Rocky Mountaineer a few years back, right before an Alaskan cruise. And it was just phenomenal, like an unbelievable experience, truly scenery that is just astounding. And I did the Canadian Rockies from Banff to Vancouver. And it was just stunning. It was one of those things like you're trying to take pictures and then you finally go, okay, pictures will never do this justice. It is just too amazing. And the service level on Rocky Mountaineer, I felt so taken care of. And it was just a really seamless, fabulous experience. So anyway, so I really enjoyed that. And again, it's kind of one of those things where it's very different from your typical land tour, your typical cruise. So that's why I wanted to have Danny kind of talk about it because it is such a unique travel experience. So, so Danny Becker from Rocky Mountaineer is here with us tonight. And he is going to share with you all about the Rocky Mountaineer experience. So I'm going to turn it over to Danny.
All right, Carol, thank you so much. And thanks for everybody for joining tonight. Give me just a minute here and I'll share my screen. And let's see. I think you've got me disabled there, Carol. You might want to.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we had that done before and then we had that little problem. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes. Okay.
Should be good now.
I think we should be good now.
Okay, there we go. Let me select this, share, and then put it in presentation mode, and I will be ready to go. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Well, Carol, you pretty much said it all for me there, so I don't know what else I'm going to add to that, but that was really good start off to this, and I went ahead and put your contact information. I think sounds like everybody pretty well knows that, but there's my ugly mug. That's actually just about a month after I started. It's a picture of me on one of our gold leaf cards back in January or February of 2016. And I've been with the company now 5 years, and I've been in the industry over 40 years, and it's just been such a rewarding 5 years. The most rewarding, I should say.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
just a little bit of a history on Rocky Mountaineer. We are owned by a gentleman by the name of Peter Armstrong in Vancouver, British Columbia. He and his family have started the business way back in 1990. Last year was to have been our 30th anniversary, but we were not able to run it all last year. But we're looking forward to running here later on this year, and we've got an exciting new U.S. route that I want to tell you about as well. And but first, though, I'm going to get into, and pardon me, I'm starting to kind of lose my voice a little bit, so I may have to take frequent sips of water here. But first of all, I'm going to get into kind of telling you why Rocky Mountaineer, and that's why you're here, right? Is to learn more about our experience. And when we talk about the Rocky Mountaineer experience, we we talk about a lot of things, but we really focus on a few key attributes of the Rocky Mountaineer experience. First of all, as you probably already gathered, we are not about transportation. This is in no way, shape, or form anything like Amtrak or Via Rail, period. This is a luxury rail experience. And as we get through this, hopefully you'll see why that is. So again, we focus on a few key attributes. First of all, an all-dome, state-of-the-art fleet of rail cars. This is one of our brand new 3.0 or third generation gold leaf cars. We have two classes of service, silver leaf and gold leaf. And these new 3.0 cars are built by a company in Germany called Stadler, and they are $10 million a piece. Pardon me. And that's
Each car. Each car.
that is a high-end RV, right? So, and once you board one of these cars, you really begin to understand why they're so expensive and so sophisticated. But you can see all of the glass that you have to look through in these beautiful gold leaf cars. And there's some new technology in them too, where if we have to be sitting still on the tracks for a little while, you see that little mark about halfway down the glass there? Our host can actually dim that almost completely dark with one turn of a knob, and it completely blocks out the sun overhead. So that's just one of the pieces of technology. And most of those seats that you see there are they swivel. So you can actually, if you have two couples traveling together, you can move one side of the seats. They put a little table in the middle, and then you can have two couples facing each other. But more about the gold leaf cars here in just a minute. But the next thing we really focus on is our cuisine, our gourmet cuisine, particularly in gold leaf. We have Michelin trained chefs in every gold leaf car, and we have an executive chef that actually is constantly going back and forth between the gold leaf kitchens to make sure everything is done perfectly. And we can handle just about any kind of dietary restriction you can imagine, except for kosher. We don't have the type of kitchen and utensils kosher.
Won't have any Jews.
Else we can do.
Won't have any Jews.
So there's the gourmet cuisine, and then our next thing we focus on is our dreamy hotel partners. As you can probably imagine, we don't sleep on the train unless you just want to take a cat nap. But I warn you, you don't want to miss anything. So we put up our guests in really nice hotels every night, and this is one of them, the famous Fairmont Banff Springs. And you'll see another shot of that, an even grander shot here in just a few minutes. So we don't just use Fairmonts, but they're our #1 partner in Western Canada. And then the next thing we focus on is our 3 stunning seasons. Typically we're traveling from mid-April through mid-October. This year, we've had to suspend a portion of our early season, but we're still very optimistic about the latter part of our Canadian season. So you can see there in April, that's what you'd find in the far left picture, that's Lake Louise. It would still be frozen even until typically early June. And then the middle part of the middle picture there sort of indicates the bigger part of our season, the summer months from mid to late June up through mid-September. And then the far right-hand picture is more of a fall foliage type look. And so typically we're traveling again from mid-April through mid-October. And by the way, everything's included on the train. You'll want for nothing on the train. And I'll explain a little bit more about that as we look at some of the packages. But I love this picture because this is one of our exclusive, what we call outdoor viewing platforms. This happens to be the last car on the train. And we call the last car on the train, you might think we call it a caboose, but actually we have a much classier name for it. We call it the Trailing Dome. So this happens to be the Trailing Dome, and this is like an exclusive area, like I said, in the gold leaf cars. and it's only the people in that car can go down here. It's covered, it's protected, and you can go out, you can take your drink out there, meet people. It's just a fantastic place to go out and get some fresh mountain air and take pictures and what have you. But, you know, the purpose of the slide is customized journeys, and that's what we do best. You know, when you're on the train journey itself, which is typically, 2 to 3 days, unless you're doing one of our circle journeys, which can be up to 5 days, it's really customizable on either end of your trip. In other words, your hotels in Vancouver and in the Canadian Rockies and in Calgary. That's where it's really customizable. So I'll talk about that again in just a second as well. And then last but not least, world-class service. You know, you can have all the $10 million cars you want and the incredible cuisine, but unless you have that world-class service that ties it all together, there's something really crucial missing, right? So we're really proud of that. We won a lot of awards for it. And in fact, we earned a net promoter score, which is a marketing geek score in 2019 of 82, which is not just one of the highest in the travel industry, but the highest in any industry. And we're really proud of that. That's a measurement of how likely our guests are to refer their friends and family to Rocky Mountaineer. So, and then life-changing experiences, you know, a lot of companies throw that around. We hear that a lot. So we sort of adopted that term for ourselves. We're purveyors of life-changing experiences. And this is an experience, definitely a bucket list experience, but if it weren't a great bucket list experience, it wouldn't be so famous. So just a few of the world's awards that we've won. I won't go through all of these, but Travel Weekly Reader's Choice Awards, that top middle selection there, we've won that now about 12 or 13 times out of our 30-year history, 31 years now. So we're really particularly proud of that one. That's our travel agent partners voting on Rocky Mountaineer. And as Carol can attest, we have been voted a top rail supplier for Nexion now for, I believe, 5 years in a row. Nexion is the travel consortia or host agency she is with, and we're really proud to be associated with them as well. So we have some world-class gateway cities. Vancouver, of course, is one of them. If you haven't been there, plan to spend some time in Vancouver. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous cosmopolitan city where, you know, all of a lot of the Alaska cruise ships depart from, and it just really has a little of everything, by the way. So that's one of our gateway cities. The other is Calgary, of course, more of a Western type town known for the Calgary Stampede. And now we'll have Denver as well. I don't have a picture of that one in here, but you'll see a shot of that here coming up in a few minutes. But this is our Canadian route map, and we have 3 primary routes. And that red route is our most famous route. That is called First Passage to the West. The blue route is called Journey Through the Clouds, and the green route is called Rainforest to Gold Rush. That's our newest, longest route. And so you can do these eastbound or westbound and one way either way, or you can do the entire perimeter, which is 5 days on the train. And that's what we call a circle journey. And my favorite is the Grand Rail Circle. And so these routes are the core of our packages, right? So what we do is we package some beautiful hotels, very interesting excursions with our partner, our motor coach partner there in Canada called Brewster. And they own some of the top attractions there as well. Like that green dotted line you see there is known as the Icefields Parkway, the Athabasca Glacier. So that's what I call a super excursion. And that's, you know, that's something that's a no miss in my opinion as well. So let me just set this up real quick. This is a quick video of our world-class boarding facility there in Vancouver. And it's only about 20 seconds long, but this is a quick video of our first departure in 2018, mid-April 2018, almost exactly 3 years ago. Here it is.
Welcome to the first departure of 2018.
I love showing that video because, you know, some people have this kind of mindset that they'll be boarding from some greasy industrial train platform, and as you can see, nothing is further from the truth. It's a very festive send-off. It's a beautiful world-class boarding facility that we own, so it's not like you're amongst other trains there, and it's just a very special experience. And the send-off that we give, particularly from that boarding facility there in Vancouver. So here's, again, I mentioned we would talk a little bit about our two classes of service. Our Silverleaf cars at the bottom there hold 52. Those are single level cars, and all of the snacks, drinks, and meals are served seat side, kind of like first class on an airline. We put in the past 5, 6, 7 years, we put close to $5 million a piece into renovating those cars. So they're extremely nice. And I've already talked about, pardon me, I've already talked about the Gold Leaf cars at the top there. Those are twin level. There are 2 spiral staircases on either end that go downstairs to the Gold Leaf dining area. And there's actually a small lift on board as well, in case anybody just is not quite as ambulatory or just doesn't want to navigate those stairs. And you can see the little cutout of the outdoor viewing platform at the back too. So on Gold Leaf, because the Gold Leaf dining car holds only half of the upstairs area, which is 68, so roughly 34, we have 2 seatings. And so as soon as you board in the morning, typically out of Vancouver, you're boarding at 7 a.m. And then they'll divide the car in half. The first group will go downstairs. But if you're the first group to stay upstairs, don't worry. You're pampered with fresh scones right out of the oven. And, you know, until about an hour later, they'll call the second group down for Gold Leaf breakfast. So that's how it works in Gold Leaf. So there's an exterior shot of our Silverleaf cars. You can see partially domed in sort of the top corners there. And there's 2 of the Gold Leaf cars right together. And you can see how tall they are. That's actually an advantage going down the tracks. And instead of looking sometimes at the trees, you're looking over the trees. So it's quite the perch, especially if you've got one of those where you've got a Silverleaf car or a crew car in front of you or behind you, then you're actually kind of looking over that car, and you just have an extra special sort of view at the top of those Gold Leaf cars. So, Carol, I think there's somebody else wanting in there. If you want to admit that, there you go.
Yeah.
But that's 2 of the Gold Leaf cars right together. And here's a spectacular picture of the upstairs area in our Gold Leaf dining car. You kind of saw one shot of this earlier. This is kind of an expanded shot of that. And the service and cuisine and storytelling, that's what holds it all. That's the glue that holds it all together. It's not just, you know, you riding through the wilderness and enjoying gourmet meals. The hosts are so very friendly and engaging and funny, and lots of history, lots of stories about the area you're going through. And don't forget, incredible wildlife. And they're good at slowing the train down. And, you know, the engineers up front in the locomotives see that first. So they immediately let the hosts know to slow the train down to 5 miles an hour. And lots of times you'll see a mother bear and 2 cubs, you know, on the right hand or left hand side of the track. So it's pretty special. And then there's the tastefully done 4-person booths areas downstairs for the Gold Leaf dining. And typically on board, it's lunch and dinner. Now, I mentioned earlier, you saw that one shot of the famous Fairmont Banff Springs. This is a more expanded shot of that. This is probably the most famous hotel in all of Canada. You can see the 18-hole golf course there, the Bow River there. It looks like there's a rafting trip going on that. So, you know, people love the train, and that's the primary thing they go for. but these incredible Fairmont hotels are just, icing on the cake, so to speak. So that's one I would highly recommend. We actually, in Banff, we have another Gold Leaf hotel that I would highly recommend too, and it's just up the mountain, up Sulphur Mountain, and it's called the Rimrock Hotel, and it's spectacular as well. And then, of course, some of you have seen this before, the famous Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. No, that picture is not touched up. That is exactly the way it looks. And you kind of have to blink your eyes several times to really believe it. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, this is really what it looks like. And it's very special. So do yourself a favor and plan to stay there at least 2 days. And let me just set this quick video up. This is about a 2-minute video. We've done a couple of these collaborative videos with British Broadcasting Corporation. They brought this famous author and movie producer on board. Her name is Penelope Spheris, and her last name is hard for me to say, but we love her very eloquent explanation of her experience and her, like I said, her explanation of what a great time she had on Rocky Mountaineer. So just a couple of minutes long here.
I think travel is, for most people, an escape. My mother actually was an incredible adventurer. She took off from Kansas, just like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, and joined a carnival. I learned a lot from that. I can be free. I can go and do whatever I want. I've done a lot of traveling in my life, but it's mostly been for work. So I haven't taken the time to really appreciate the real meaning of travel. When you go on a journey like with Rocky Mountaineer, there's just so many different personalities to this trip, and you don't want to take your eye off the window because you're going to miss something. You can walk on this outside viewing platform. It's an amazing experience because you can hear the world going on around you, and you can get the fresh forest smells. And standing out there, I felt liberated. To get out and explore the world by train, it's not people's first choice, but it should be. It is unique, it is relaxing, it is romantic, and it is something you won't forget. It's an indelible memory. Canada is a wealth of beauty, and I think Rocky Mountaineer is a way to experience that. This is the ultimate extreme comfort and luxury. It's really dreamy. It really is like a dream come true. By being on that train, I actually came to a point where I enjoyed being in the now, and I kind of refound myself. I really did. To be on Rocky Mountaineer, it's an experience of a lifetime, and it's something that you can't get anywhere else.
Carol, could you see and hear that pretty well? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Good deal. I'm going to speed through the rest of this because I don't want to overstay my welcome, but I did want to just say this is our, again, our 31st year. So the promotion is called 31 is the new 30, and it expires June 4th. We've actually recently extended it out to June 4th, and it's 3 perks. This is for Canada only now, but it's 3 perks: 1 free hotel night, 1 free airport transfer, and 1 free dinner. And that is for packages of 8 days or longer. And for 2022, if you've just kind of decided that you want to do something in 2022, our very best promotion of the year is going on until August 27th. And that's 4 perks: 2 free hotel nights, 1 free complimentary private car transfer, and 1 free dinner for packages of 8 days or longer. And again, for Canada only for 2022. And I'll get into at the end of this, the really flexible terms, deposit and payment terms and conditions. Now, we realize people now need a lot more flexibility, and we've built that in, and I'll tell you about that at the end. But I want to get into our new Rockies to the Red Rocks route from Denver to Moab. Our owner very early last year, Peter Armstrong, said, you know what, and we've been looking at doing this for several years now. But he said early on last year that if we can't bring our U.S. guests to Canada, we're going to take the train to them, which is what we started planning all of last year. And so after 30 years of travel, we're finally coming to the U.S. and we know there's going to be opportunities for some incredible new routes in addition to this as we go forward too. So this slide is actually wrong now. It says 40 departures, but we've now expanded it, and we're going to be it's closer to 57 departures. We've extended our season because our initial bookings are so good. We've extended our season from when it was supposed to end in early October into now mid-November. So 57 total departures starting August 15th. And then we've got packages that I'll show you some examples of, here in just a moment. But first, let me just show you this quick 15-second launch video on Rockies to the Red Rocks from Denver to Moab. So again, about 15 seconds.
An extraordinary place deserves an extraordinary way to see it. Our newest route, Rockies to the Red Rocks, brings 30 years of Rocky Mountaineer's world-class service to the stunning desert vistas of the American Southwest. Traveling from the vibrant Denver, Colorado, past some of nature's wonders, vast canyons, chromatic deserts, and panoramic views, to the mesmerizing red rock landscapes that twist through the bright blue sky. It's rail travel at its best. After all, if you're going to see an extraordinary place, you want an extraordinary way to see it.
Again, we are very excited about this. Advanced bookings are really going very well now, and so we hope that you'll look to possibly join us on this new route. And here's the route itself from Denver. The interim stop, we always have an interim stop, and we always include the hotel there. But the interim stop on this one is Glenwood Springs, Colorado. That Denver to Glenwood Springs portion is 8 hours, so we'll leave Denver Union Station at about 9 a.m. in the morning and arrive about 5. And the next day, leaving Glenwood Springs at about 7 and arriving Moab at about noon. And then we will turn the train around and provision it and go back eastbound. And then, of course, as you can see, the green dotted lines, all of the touring of the Utah Mighty 5 national parks in that area, which is some absolutely stunning scenery, is going to be on that end of the trip. So whether you go westbound or eastbound, you'll do the touring of that part of the trip on that end. And like Canada, much of what you see on this route you can't see any other way. And a lot of the trip also follows the mighty Colorado River as well. So here's the first day, and I won't name these off, but just to show you some of the pictures, Red Canyon, there we go around the Big Ten curve. This is right out of Denver. You can see Denver in the background. And this is an interesting rail design there where they've actually had to erect permanent rail cars there to act as a windbreak because the wind can at times get pretty high through here. So the Big Ten curve is our kind of a first major thing that we see. And then Gross Reservoir Dam and Byers Canyon. The dam there is actually a very important source of water for most of Colorado. You'll go right by that. There's a better picture of that, Gross Reservoir Dam. And the second day from Glenwood Springs on into Moab, Again, I don't want to read all these off because I'm getting short on time, but here's some highlights of that day 2. Mount Garfield kind of looks like something off Mars there. That's pretty spectacular topography there. And again, day 2 is continuing that as La Salle Mountains and Book Cliffs. And that's just a few of the things that you would see. Now, as a salesperson, I wouldn't have thought of this. I'm not an engineer, but our engineers fortunately thought to measure the tunnels on this route. So our gold leaf cars are just a little bit too tall for this route. So we are bringing 8 Silverleaf cars, 2 generator cars, 2 of our very new renovated lounge cars, and we're going to have a Silverleaf service and a Silverleaf Plus service, which I will show you a little bit more about here in a minute. It's an expanded version of Silverleaf. But here's again one of our Silverleaf cars from the exterior, and there's an interior shot of Silverleaf. Again, these hold 52. Huge picture windows, partially domed in the corners, and all meals and snacks and drinks are included, just like in Gold Leaf, and served seat side in Silverleaf. There's a shot of one of the dessert services there on board. Gives you a good idea of how much leg room there is in between the seats as well. And then our exclusive Silverleaf Plus lounge car, that's we're bringing 2 of those, recently completely renovated for an additional, depending on which direction you're going, it's a little bit higher now on westbound, we think, but it's about $400 per person extra for Silverleaf Plus, but it brings this unlimited access to our lounge car, upgraded menu selections, a bar service there in the lounge car, and we intend to really make it worth the extra dollars that people will be paying for this upgraded level of service. Both of them are going to be great, so you'll be happy with either one. But in case you wanted that extra area to go into, a little more freedom, this is something to consider, Silverleaf Plus. This is a post from a 2019 TripAdvisor guest, and I thought I would just show this to you real quick. We're very careful not to position our 2 classes of services, one being better than the other. They're just different. They're both high quality, and that's by design. We want to make it a little more difficult for you to decide which one you want, and we've done that. And so don't think of one as being better than the other. They're just different. So just to get into a few pictures, and I'll wrap it up here in just a few minutes. But there's Moab, that top picture, Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and Denver, Colorado. Let's talk about Denver for a second. I mean, what a beautiful city. And I know a lot of you have been there. I certainly have many times. We'll be boarding right downtown or very close to downtown in the Larimer Square area. There's the Denver Museum of Art. And this is a very walkable area. Lots of outdoor restaurants and seating and brew pubs. And we just think this is going to be a spectacular area to start or end your trip, depending on which direction you're going. And Union Station, you can fly into Denver Airport, and they have the A line that goes directly into Union Station. And one of the hotels we use, or that we will be using, is right inside Union Station. It's called the Crawford. But a little bit more about Glenwood Springs. Fantastic interim stop. A small, charming mountain town with very walkable town with lots of charming restaurants and outdoor seating. Shopping areas there. Known for its hot springs, a pedestrian bridge over the Colorado River, and you can walk literally anywhere in this town from in 5 to 10 minutes. And there's one of the hot springs areas there in Glenwood Springs. Not a lot of people know about this area, I'm finding. I certainly didn't know that much, but I've learned a lot, and it's going to be a really, really nice interim stop, and you'll have most of the night there to enjoy that. And then on to Moab, Utah, the Red Rocks of Moab, and then the downtown area is very similar. bottom left there. Lots of shops and outdoor restaurants and spectacular scenery. You can see that top picture there. I'm trying to remember the name of that rocky area there. I want to say they call that Delicate Arch or something like that, but that's just one of the places. It's not, we don't want to give you the wrong impression. It's not hard hiking at all. But it's going to be a spectacular way to see that part of Utah. Some of our hotel partners in that area, the Hoodoo Moab Curio Collection by Hilton, Hyatt Place, and Hilton Homewood Suites. And there's an outdoor area there at the Hoodoo Collection. Some of the room pictures there in that same hotel, Hoodoo Moab Curio Collection, Hyatt Place, Hilton Homewood Suites, and then the Glenwood in Glenwood Springs, the Glenwood Hot Springs Resort. They include admission in that world's largest hot springs pool, by the way. And then the Hotel Denver and Hotel Colorado are two really famous hotels and with a lot of history behind them there in Glenwood Springs. And then finally, Hotel Denver, some interior shots, again, still in Glenwood Springs, Glenwood Hot Springs Resort, bottom left, and the Hotel Colorado, bottom right. And then last but not least, circling back here to Denver Union Station. There's that Union Station. The Crawford Hotel is inside, but we'll also be using the Maven Hotel, which is very close by. And there's another one there that the name is escaping me, but they're all right there in that Larimer Square area. And again, you can take the A line from Denver Airport. It's about 30 minutes, and it's directly in. It's about $10.50 a person. So it's going to be really convenient to be able to head right into that area. Here's the three interior shots. The Maven Hotel at the top there. Union Station bottom left, and Crawford Hotel inside it. And then the other one I couldn't remember earlier was the Oxford Hotel. And you can see Union Station in the background. So that's pretty special. And then some interior shots of Denver, of the Oxford Hotel, Crawford Hotel, and Maven. You can even see the home of the Colorado Rockies baseball team outside the window there, the Maven. That's a more modern kind of contemporary type hotel. And there's the lobby area at the Maven. And then one of the ones we're using for some of our group departures is the Rally House in Denver. So one of the packages, one of our longer packages on the Rockies to the Red Rocks is called Rockies to the Red Rocks Explorer from Las Vegas. So this is actually starting out, in Las Vegas, doing your touring of the Mighty Five National Parks there, and then doing the saving the icing for last, so to speak, and boarding the train and ending up in Denver. And there's the kind of the price tag on that particular one. And of course, you can do it the opposite direction as well, starting out in Denver. And this is one of our premier excursions. I like showing this to people because it says it's a jet boat ride, but you can see here it's an obviously very tame jet boat ride. And it's a very popular one down the Colorado River that we will be doing for almost all of our packages. And there's a beautiful shot of one of the rock formations there in Bryce Canyon, and the famous Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs. We're really excited about this. We're using this on a couple of our packages there in Colorado as well. So our promotion that's going on right now for Rockies to the Red Rocks is $300 off per couple. This particular one expires. This is for departures October 24th to November 18th, and it expires April 19th. But on April 20th, we're starting one that's actually going to be all eastbound departures, and it will be going for, I think, a couple of months. I don't have the exact details on that yet, but that will be starting April 20th. Same thing though, $300 off per couple for Rockies to the Red Rocks packages. So let me just go on to the next slide here. And I'm not going to go through all of this. Essentially what I'm trying to tell you here is that for 2021 bookings, if you put down a 20% deposit, it's fully refundable on both either Canada or the US route until 30 days prior. So if you put down your 20% deposit and you decide at 31 days out, no, we're going to wait, then we fully refund your money and you can come back and see us next year or book something in 2022. And even if you do go forward at 30 days, you have the option of doing name changes and date changes as well. And for 2022, very similar, you can put down your 20% deposit and you have until December 3rd, and it's fully refundable until December 3rd of this year. So no risk there whatsoever. So we hope that that'll give you some peace of mind to book with Rocky Mountaineer. And we are, our safety, has always been our concern. We have a full list of protocols, safety protocols for COVID in Canada. We're kind of waiting to see in the US what exactly that we're going to be doing in the US, because things are so dynamic here and getting better all the time. So we'll be posting more of that, our US COVID protocols on our website. So Carol, I hope I didn't overstay my welcome, and thank you all so much. And if there's any questions, or Carol, if you'd like to have them email them to you, that's fine. However you'd like to do it.
Danny, thank you so much. And I don't know if y'all, I like pretty much the whole time Danny was talking, I was just nodding my head about the whole Rocky Mountain experience, because like the food was fabulous. The service on board was fabulous. All the things he was talking about. I definitely had a fabulous experience when I did it. And right now everybody's muted, but if anybody does have any questions they'd like to ask while Danny is here with us, you can unmute yourself if you want to, ask something specific. Anybody have any questions?
Or you're still muted.
Hey, David, yeah?
Yeah, regarding current COVID restrictions, where does that go for Canada, Canadian travel specifically? Where do we stand there?
Well, the border is still closed. We have been forced to suspend the small part of April that we were planning to run, and then May and June, but we still feel optimistic about July and beyond. I'm hearing some rumors, they have not been confirmed by the company yet, but that they may allow people in as long as they are vaccinated here pretty soon. But again, we have not confirmed that. Now, as far as what we'll be doing on the train, and it's possible we'll be boarding from half full motor coaches to half full rail cars. And then mask may be mandatory, maybe not, where it all depends on when that border is open and what vaccination restrictions and things are in place. So it's all kind of fluid at this point. But for Canada, we're still very optimistic that we will have a season. It's going to be shortened, but we have extended our season on into November this year, and we've made that decision. We have not published those dates yet, but we're prepared to do that extension. So I hope that answers your question. I know it's a little bit.
It does. I know that it answers as well as you can answer it at this time. The other question I had was weather for a fall trip. Does it get pretty chilly up there in Canada in September, October?
Well, I'll give you that's my favorite time to go, and I'm really serious about that. Myself and one of my colleagues in groups led a group in, we landed in Calgary on September 29th of 2019. We had 104 people coming in. When we landed in Calgary, there was 5 inches of snow on the ground. All of our group made it in just fine. We had one of the most spectacular trips, though. The sun was out, the snow melted. There was a little bit of dusting of snow on the mountains. It was, pretty cool weather, but it had been incredibly hot here. And all this group was from Texas, and it had been hot all during, of course, August and September. And everybody was just delighted to see some cool weather. and snow and lots of bears and animals, and we had just the perfect trip. And so that's now my favorite time to go. And Lake Louise was just spectacular. But yes, to answer your question, it can be cold that time of year.
I have a
Thank you.
question. Does the trip include transfers from when you arrive in the different destinations for the hotels, transfers to and from the hotel, get you back to the train station?
It does, yes. And in this case, if you're booking one of our specials that I mentioned earlier, then there's one of the transfers from the airport to the hotel on either end is included as well. But yes, we include the transfers in there, and as part of the package, we can really customize it in many ways. But all of the hotels, you have some, ability to pick those as well too. As I mentioned, the Fairmont Banff Springs over the Rimrock Hotel, and et cetera. Or in Vancouver, I would highly recommend one of the Fairmonts on the water, like the Fairmont Pacific Rim, which is right where the cruise ships come in. And then of course in Calgary, the Fairmont I always recommend there is the Fairmont Palliser. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and I got to jump in here because that was the part that I totally like. How do they do this? You're riding on the train and then you get off and you go to a hotel and the next day you get back on the train. Oh my goodness. Like they had it so seamless, and it was truly a beautiful thing. The way that they picked people up, got you to the train, and like at the end of the first day when we drove up, what's that little town, Danny, between Banff and wherever we stop.
You talking
Anyway.
about Kamloops?
Yeah, Kamloops. Anyway, like the train came up and the motor coaches are sitting there. Before we even got there, they told us what hotels we would be at, gave us our keys to our rooms, so that we got off the train, got on a motor coach. They took us right to our hotel. I already had the key. I walked to my room. I opened the door. My luggage is there. Like it was made me so happy. Like it's just a beautiful, seamless type of experience. So that's one reason I'm so impressed with them.
Carol, I usually talk about that a lot more than I did today, but the luggage handling is spectacular, and people really love that. We truck the bags, your big bags, ahead of the train. So as you're boarding in our Vancouver station, for instance, we're loading your bags off the motor coach onto a separate truck. They're trucked ahead to Kamloops. They're in your hotel room waiting on you when you get there. And it's that way throughout the entire trip. And people absolutely love that. So, the key on Rocky Mountaineer is to bring a small bag on board that you put underneath the seat and layer. Bring your sweaters and medication and binoculars and cameras and that kind of thing, and layer on board and have that little bag. And then you'll just be amazed at how easy it is the entire trip.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, I don't see anybody else muting. So I want to thank everyone for joining, and thanks for your interest in Rocky Mountaineer. Again, it's a really unique travel experience, and I appreciate Danny coming and explaining it to us because, as you can see, there is a lot to it. There are all these different routes and the different ways that you can do it, but overall, just a beautiful travel experience and incredible scenery, as you can see, for both Canada and now in the US, which I'm really excited about. And so my husband is jealous that I have already been, and so now he wants to go. So I have to plan this for us to do it again. So I'm excited because as more Danny was talking, the more excited I was getting that I get to do it again. So Anyway, thank y'all again so much for joining. I appreciate it. And with that, we will close things out and let you get to the rest of your evening. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.